everyone, it's Danielle. I'm back again, and I just want to thank everyone for the positive feedback and all my new subscribers for my last video. I always forget the name. I always want to call it the newbie book tag, but that's weird. It's the booktube newbie tag. I was really anxious to put that video up because, like I said in my video, it takes courage. Once I posted it, fear immediately crept in, and I threw those thoughts out and I was like, it'll be okay. You're doing this because you love it and you love books. It's okay. And then the next day I have all these notifications that all of you lovely people have left for me, and I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I am a words of affirmation person. That's my love language, and so to hear those words of support and affirmation and all those things, it just put me on cloud 9 and gave me the motivation and the courage and confidence to do my next video. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. I absolutely love this book. This was my absolute favorite book that I read last year. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I'm not usually that generous. Well, I am. I'm usually pretty generous with my ratings on Goodreads, but this was absolutely my favorite. This book is about our heroine, Vasilisa Petrova. Her mother died giving birth to her, and she is the 5th of all of her siblings, so there's 5 of them. Her father, Pyotr, is a lord and owns all this land. I feel like it's a ranch, but he owns all this land and all this cattle and farming and stuff out in the winter woods in a place called, I don't remember what it's called, but it's in northern Russia. So this is a retelling of a Russian fairy tale, which is just amazing. So she grew up in this tiny little village where they make offerings to spirits, and she knew that she was different all of her life because she could see these spirits that people were making offerings to. The spirits that lived in the forest, the spirits that lived in the river, the spirits that lived in her house and protected her house called the domovoi. He would live in the oven, and you would set out offerings for him. It wasn't kill offerings, it was just food offerings. So you would take a part of your meal and then you would set it aside and you would make it as a sacrifice to the domovoi, and he would protect your house. And she could see these spirits, and sometimes they scared her, and the domovoi would come out of the oven sometimes when he had nothing else to do and do the sewing. So somehow the sewing would all get done. And as she was growing up, her nursemaid, Dunya is what her name is, would tell her these fables and fairy tales about Morozko, the Ice King, and all these other awesome, magically haunting fairy tales that Katherine Arden writes in the book, and they are absolutely amazing. But when she's 7 years old, her father remarries this very devout religious woman, and she is a princess of Moscow, because he thought, my daughter needs a mother to help look after her because she's the youngest of all of her siblings. She keeps getting into trouble because she loves the woods so much that she would go into the woods, but one day she got lost and her brothers had to come looking for her, and they found her before she froze to death and brought her home. And that's when he decided to go to Moscow to find a wife to help keep her daughter in line because he couldn't do it by himself. The stepmother, being very devout in her faith, it's almost like Catholicism, makes the family stop honoring the household spirits. When that happens, the spirits lose their strength to be able to protect their household. And then this priest stumbles into this village and sees that people aren't upholding the Catholic faith, and so he goes into the church and he preaches about the wrath of God and how the wrath of God is going to come down upon them if they don't stop worshiping these demons, is what they called them, and start worshiping God. And so the whole village stops worshiping these spirits, and because everyone does that, Vasya is the only one that sees what it's doing to the spirits and that their strength is waning, and so she befriends them by sacrificing to them parts of her meals. But as these spirits' powers wane, new threats start to arise So crops begin to fail and dark creatures of the forest begin to emerge. In order to protect her family, the people that she loves the most, she has to defy them. So she calls upon her dangerous gifts that have been long concealed in order to protect her family, her village, and her entire world from a darkness that is beginning to awaken. So this was Catherine Arden's debut novel, and I thought it was so stunning. Robin Hobb blurbed this book, and she described it as beautifully layered novel of family and the harsh wonders of deep winter magic. That just says it all. Deep winter magic. And I think that's what caught my eye when I picked this book up. I looked at the back and I saw that all of my favorite authors blurbed this book. So Robin Hobb, Terry Brooks, Tamora Pierce, Naomi Novik. I feel like her writing is just like poetry. It was like reading poetry that just pierced my heart in such a way that it was just so magical that I felt like I was in northern Russia's winter woods. Like, that's how magical and how wonderful her writing is. So this book was stunning, beautiful, magical, and also very refreshing because it was nothing like the books that I have been reading. Like some of the retelling fairy tales, you're like, oh yeah, I already know that story, and I love the retelling of fairy tales, but this was just in a league of its own because I've never heard a story told in this way before, and I don't really know a whole lot about Russian fairy tales, and so to be able to read one was awesome. If you're looking for a fairy tale retelling that is magical, whimsical, is set in the winter woods, has a winter king, I should say a winter demon king, that is haunting and full of wonderment, this is the book for you. Honestly, you will not regret picking this book up. I highly recommend it. It is absolutely wonderful. So if you haven't picked this book up yet, go pick it up and then comment your thoughts about it in the comments below. And for those of you who have read it, I would love to hear your thoughts about this as well. The Girl in the Tower is the second book, which takes place after the events that happened in the first book, The Bear and the Nightingale. So The Girl in the Tower was also just blew me away. It was magical, even more magical and whimsical than the first book. Go pick this series up, Catherine Arden, and the third book comes out August 14th, so we don't have that much longer to wait, even though I wish I had it now. And the cover has already been released, which I will post up here. Absolutely stunning. Please go pick these books up and let me know what you think about them. Alright guys, once again, thank you for watching. That was my book review and thoughts on The Bear and the Nightingale. Again, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you want to be notified as to when I post new videos. And that's it for now, and I will see you next time with a new video. Okay, bye!